Well, hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so the Israelites escaped the Egyptians in a dramatic change of events. They crossed the Red Sea on dry land, and now they were in a desert, wandering. So they were making their way to the Promised Land, right? Well, it was going to be quite a journey, my friend. So, as they were out in there in the desert, they started to get hungry. And they were like, Moses, why did you take us out of Egypt where we're going to starve? Like, back in Egypt, we were eating all this great food and pasta meat. And why did you do this to us? It's like we're just going to die out here. And so Moses said to them, he said, you aren't complaining against me, you're complaining against God. And God said to Moses, Moses, I've heard their grumbling, I've heard their complaining, and I'm going to provide food for them. He said, wait until this evening and you're going to see, the Israelites are going to see what I'm going to do. So Moses went to the people and he said, all right, everybody, this evening you are going to see how God is going to provide for you and your needs. And as he was saying that, his cloud and God's glory was revealed in that cloud. So, evening came, their bellies were grumbling, moaning, grumbling, growling, there it is, growling, and they started to like look around, and like a bunch of quail, you know what quail are? They're birds, a bunch of birds just started kind of falling from the sky and landing in front of them all around. Now, if you're like, birds, why are we going to eat birds? That's the meat God's going to provide. Well, think about it. We eat chicken, right? Chicken or birds. So quail just fell everywhere. And Moses told them, this is what God said. He said, collect enough for you to eat for dinner tonight. And don't save anything for the next day. Just eat enough for tonight. Because God is going to provide you with more food in the morning. So they followed the Lord's instructions. They were like, all right, this meat is delicious, fresh. So they boiled it, they cooked it however they cooked it, maybe over a fire, and they had a wonderful dinner and they were full. So they went to bed. And then the next morning, they got up, and they were kind of hungry again. So they knew, well, wait, Moses said God was going to provide us with something in the morning too. So they went outside, and all these like white flakes had fallen to the ground. But my friends, we were in a desert. It was not snow. No, it was these like white flakes. They were like wafers, and they tasted like kind of like bread with honey on them, and it looked like frost from the sky. So when they saw this like stuff that had fallen on the ground, they asked the question, what is this, right? Well, do you remember the name of this bread that fell from heaven? They named it manna. Do you know what manna means? It means, what is it? So Moses said, this is the bread you are to eat in the morning, and you're supposed to gather enough for each member of your family to eat for breakfast, lunch, and then quail for dinner. So he said, don't collect any more than you need to eat, and don't save any of it overnight, because this is the instruction that God has given us. God wanted the Israelites to realize they could trust him. They didn't need to like hoard the bread for the morning, because there was going to be more bread. God was going to provide for them. So they went out, they collected all the bread, and each Israelite had just enough food to have their bellies be content for the day. And then they had the quail at night, in the evening for dinner, and then they went to bed. Well, some of the Israelites didn't trust that God would actually provide the next day. So those Israelites actually saved some of that manna. They're like, okay, just in case, we're going to save it for the morning. Well, they woke up in the morning, and oh my goodness, it stunk. It smelled so bad. and there was maggots in it, like maggots, like worms, and like it was so disgusting. And Moses told them, like, this is the God said don't do that. God said I would provide you with fresh manna. So they learned their lesson for now anyway, and they learned that they could trust God. He was going to provide for them. So, as each day went by of the week, he said, okay, on the sixth day, and it'd be kind of like a Saturday for us, right? Well, technically it was a different day for them, but we'll get into that later. So they went through their week, and when they got to the weekend, they needed to collect double the amount so that the next day, which was the Sabbath day, Sabbath means rest. Especially rest for our souls. Rest for our bodies and our souls. Time to just quietly reflect on how much God has given us and all the things He has done for us. Rest and worship. So that was the day of Sabbath. So what God wanted them to do was collect enough on the day before so that following day they could rest, because it was the Sabbath day. So the people did just that. They collected what they needed, and God had like rained down double the amount of what they would need. So they collected all the manna that they would need. They collected the quail meat that they would need in the evening, and they boiled it, cooked it so that they could save it for the next day. And God said it won't go bad. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you save it for the next day so that you don't have to work the next day. So some people still did not trust. Remember, they learned the lesson, but maybe they, were sinful. So they went out on the Sabbath day morning, and they're like, where's our manna? There's no more manna left. Well, yeah, God said He wasn't going to do it that day. Trust Him. He's going to take care of you. So, there was no manna. I'm sure they had a lot of Israelite friends that shared with them. But they then, again, learned a lesson that God's going to provide. We should follow His instructions. Even if we're not sure about those instructions, we can be sure, because we know that God has everything planned out, and He's going to make it work exactly how He wants it to, for our benefit. So then, after they had this week of food, their bellies were full. They had these yummy frosted flakes. Not really frosted flakes. They were like honey bread. Ooh, yum! That sounds good. And the people learned, okay, we are God's children. He cares for us, and He's going to be with us during this journey. It's going to be scary. There are going to be times where we're not sure how we're going to make it through, but we've got a God who's going to help us get through. He's right there with us. And so at the very end of that week, Moses told his brother Aaron, he said, Aaron, I want you to take one omar, which was like a serving, like one plate full of food, one serving, and take that omar of manna and put it before the Lord. Save it so that our grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, their grandchildren, their great-great-grandchildren, they will be able to see this manna, and God was going to preserve that manna. They'll be able to see it when they are alive, and we and all the generations that come next can tell them about what God did for us as we were in the desert. And that is the story of manna and quail from heaven. Bye, Sunday school.